Now, welcome everybody. Karibuni, karibuni. Habari gani?
Nzuri.
Nzuri.
Salama.
Sana bwana.
Yes.
Kuumba.
Today is our 6th day of celebration of Kwanzaa. I know there are people who are still wondering what Kwanzaa is. Please just Google it and you can read more about it. We find it a very, very important celebration, especially for us Black people. It is also new to me, but I'm loving it. Now, the theme for today is Kuumba. Kuumba is Swahili word meaning create. And I have very special presenters today, and we shall also be entertained by one of our presenters from France. But before we begin, I would like to invite the Queen Mother, Dolores, to do the libation. Queen Mother, you're welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear Queen Mother?
Yes, we do.
I come in the spirit of my ancestors. Queen Mother Audley Moore, who lived to be almost 100 years old in the United States of America. And she fought for one single issue, and that is reparations. They owe us for the greatest crime committed against us. And what I would like to also to bring in an ancestor, male and female. The female I have brought into this libation, but I bring in the male spirit energy, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere. His middle name in Kiswahili of Tanzania, my African Baba, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the first president of Tanzania. In the spirit of my two ancestors, I come before the family today as we move into the energy of creativity. And in that energy, I speak to the family. I call on the life force within us, that force greater than ourselves, to join in one accord. And in this libation, we call upon all of our ancestors that we may know and ancestors we may never know. But we call upon those ancestors that you know, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your extended family, your blood family, and we call on them by name. So Queen Mother will start with Mwalimu Julius Nyerere and Queen Mother Audley Moore. And I ask that you all join Queen Mother.
Yes, Papa Johnny Jenkins and Nimaya Tisda Ashe.
Call on our ancestors. Just call out on our ancestors.
Dr. Yakinen. Dr. John Edward Clark.
Oh,
Ishaka Rabba Shango.
Papa Franklin Haskell.
Dr. Chancellor Williams.
Dorothy Pettaway, Sharon Ellerby, Ida B. Wells,
Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Harriet Tubman,
Haj Malik Shabazz.
and Rosa Parks. Queen Ty, Queen
Elijah
Nefertiti,
Cummins.
Ya Santua,
Queen Mother Moore.
all the Dahomey women, Patricia Newton, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing,
Winnie Mandela,
Wangari Maathai,
The Honorable Mosea Gavi.
Samori Toure.
1222.
Wangua Makeri,
Jomo Kenyatta, Doris Sankara,
Thomas Sankara,
Rosa Parks,
Martin Luther King,
Patrice Lumumba,
Marvin Gaye,
Mwalimu Nyerere,
Bob Marley,
Achille. All of our
Steve Biko,
ancestors. Achille. We invoke all of our ancestors, known and unknown to us. We call on Mother, Father, God to just hold us all in a very special way as we show our respect and love and obedience to them. As we stay close to your divine presence, as you hold us and love us in a very special way. Keep us on the sacred path of life. Lead and guide us through our world of creativity. As we celebrate this life celebration of Kwanzaa, we come before you as we light the candle, as well as pour the libation, which is the water of life. Life that sustains us is our libation, and hold us very special in this sacred space where we all are sitting and standing throughout the world. In a very special place, the continent of Mother Africa. We call on you, our ancestors, to welcome us in this celebration before the throne of grace. Welcome, 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 and receive us as we enjoy this celebration through our creativity, through our divine innate gifts that has been given to us and shared with all of us in our divine family. As I say here now, Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. So be it. As the Queen Mother, I will speak to you a little bit about my 51 years of my life. And you must go out and find me. I'm also the Queen Mother of Hip Hop, which I was chosen by the young people before we arrived in Senegal in 2010 at the World Festival of Black Arts and Culture. We only had 3 in our lifetime amongst our family. Started in Senegal in 66. Black Arts and Culture. 77 in a place called Festac, but in a place called Lagos, Nigeria. And the 3rd time in Dakar, Senegal, but with the energy of a place called Gorée Island, which I'm the Queen Mother of Gorée Island in Senegal. And as the Queen Mother representing 55 million displaced Africans of the transatlantic ocean of the slave trade. As you know now that we are celebrating and memorializing and remembering our ancestors through the celebration always is Juneteenth, and the decade of African people at the United Nations that has been declared by member states of the UN. Being involved with the United Nations as a humanitarian myself for 51 years. Thanks to Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, and the government and the people of Tanzania, and thanks to Nigeria, the government and the people of Nigeria, allowing Queen Mother to do her humanitarian work for the last 51 years. It's been a treasure for Queen Mother. Have traveled north, south, east, and west throughout Mother Africa. And in doing my DNA 2015, it bells me out that I am true an African daughter. In the Nile of my ancestor, Queen Hatshepsut, the queen who ruled as a man because women was not accepted for leadership. And so in the Negev Desert in Egypt, I found my place of my ancestor, Queen Hatshepsut, the great pharaoh who ruled. As I said, she had to rule as a man and not as a woman. And I spent time with her in the Negev Desert. And in the Negev Desert, they gave me my name, Queen Hatshepsut. So in carrying the energy of Queen Hatshepsut and continue to carry the energy of the oldest queen mother in Ghana in the Ashanti Kingdom, where she blessed me and her son who sits on the golden stool to this day. And so I had the honor of returning home by being snatched and placed where I belongs in the royal family. And I am the Queen Mother for North America, which I represent. Being at the United Nations, I have traveled the world. And this year, during the time of the pandemic of the coronavirus, spiritually, I've been in since March. And since that time, I was able to travel spiritually to certain countries in the month of September. Portugal, Monaco, France, and up in the mountains of Switzerland. So in coming back spiritually with the rhythm of spirituality, with two spirits energy, Mama Winnie Mandela was a part of that journey with me. That was my big sister. And she will always be with us as the children, as the women, as the young people said at her life celebration in a place called Soweto. And what they said, that Mama is not gone. Mama is them. Mama will live on forever and ever. Speaking of Mama Winnie Mandela. And so with that life energy, I'm here just to share with you my seeing the world as it is. Going to mostly every country in Africa, which I've been blessed to do so, as the Queen Mother, but also representing throughout Europe with Prince Albert, brought me in September to be with the royal family of the EU and had the opportunity of meeting queens. Most of them were queens and no Queen Mother, because I'm at the age of 80 and I was the oldest one from the royal families in Europe. And so I say to you, and looking at how do we resolve many of the problems of the world of the United Nations? And that is the reason why I was a part of this conversation and world conference on sustainable development of the goals of the United Nations that we all are a part of. And this celebration of Kwanzaa behooves us all to be a part of the creativity, not only of Mother Africa, but of the world, of a contribution to the world. And as Queen Mother would leave it right there with the pin from my skirt and from my scarf out of Egypt, the red, black, and green scarf from the Negev Desert, I leave with you in the conversation to join Queen Mother in this life celebration of our people through Kwanzaa. So Queen Mother has opened the dance floor and the celebration, and let us now celebrate Kwanzaa on this day. Celebrate.
Thank you, Queen Mother.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes, thank you. Those were powerful words, words of wisdom, words that we need to really process and think about. I will go straight to the program now, continue with the program because we have started. And I will read a section of Chinua Achebe in Things Fall Apart. Chinua Achebe and Ngugi wa Thiong'o were the fathers of African literature. And he wrote, "A man who calls his kinsmen to a feast does not do so to save them from starving. They all have food in their own homes. When we gather together in the moonlit village ground, it is not because of the moon. Every man can see it in his compound." So we are gathered here just to be each other's keeper, to learn and to grow from each other, because we all have our computers in our houses and we can use them. But this gathering is very important. Now, I will go straight to our first presenter, and his name is Vamba Sheriff. I will read a short biography of Vamba. Vamba was born in Liberia and spent part of his youth in Kuwait. He grew up speaking many languages, including his native Madingo, Pele, Loma, Mende, Bandi, Arabic, French, and English. During the First Gulf War, he fled to the Jordan and then Syria before settling down in the Netherlands. Sheriff studied law and is an ambassador for the Dutch Refugees Council. He's written many novels, including Land of My Fathers, The Kingdom of Seba, Bound to Secrecy, The Witness, and The Emperor's Son, which is about the rise and fall of one of the greatest empires in the Africa of 19th century. The Wasolu Empire of Samori Toure, the African Empire of Samori Toure. He's co-editor of the best-selling anthology Black Afro-European Literature in the Netherlands and Belgium. In his novels, he explores the themes of identity, exile war, the tension between moderate and extreme Islam, love and belonging. The impacts of history and of migration on the individual are featured prominently in his work. His novels have been published in many languages, including English, Dutch, French, Spanish, German, and Malayalam. The Berliner Zeitung says of his work, Sheriff creates vortexes of Shakespearean intensity. Sabine Vogel, Berliner Zeitung. Welcome, Vamba. We are ready to learn from you.
Thank you so much, Odelia. And thank you so much, Queen Mother Blakely. It is a great honor to hear you bless this moment. and to pray for all of us. It is a privilege that a woman get to celebrate and introduce this evening. I was brought up by women, by my grandmother and my mother. I did not experience my father because he passed on when I was 5 years old. I appreciate women. I believe they are stronger than us, the men. And this is why they feature in most of my novels. The characters, the women in my novels are better and rounded characters than the men, because they represent, they are a reflection of my reality, the reflection of my beginning. As Odelia said, I was born in Liberia. And what is unique about Liberia is the founding of the country. We are here to celebrate Kwanzaa, to celebrate the African experience in the diaspora and in Africa. And Liberia is like a connection, is the link between those two worlds, the American world and the African world. It was founded, as you all know, by African Americans who had lived in slavery and who had suffered the scourge of slavery, and who at a certain point after the abolition of slavery decided to return to Africa, to where they originally came from, to live in freedom. So the Liberian experiment was a unique experiment, because when it was founded, many countries in Africa were still being colonized. There were so many problems that the country faced. So those Blacks who returned home had to navigate the difficult challenges that they faced. First, settling in a place that was very strange to them. Although they were Blacks, but they spoke English. They were Africans, but they've been away for so long that Africa was strange to them in many ways. So navigating the challenges of belonging to Africa was very difficult in the very beginning. But then you had the English and the French and the Germans who were making it very, very difficult, almost impossible for those Blacks who returned home to feel at home in Africa. And they were threatening Liberia's existence. And so many things happened in the 19th century when Liberia was founded in 1822 until the present. And the tragedy of the country is that while the Liberian experiment succeeded, the interaction between those who returned and those who were already in Liberia were sometimes very, very difficult. And they made some mistakes on both sides that resulted in the civil war that was very damaging to Liberia. So I was not in Liberia when this thing happened, when the war broke out. I was in Kuwait, where I grew up. My brother was a professor at the university. I was faced with this very difficult problem of how and why a country that was a symbol for Africa, for Black pride, the first African republic, why would such a country wage war on itself? And I thought I could only answer that question by going back to the beginning of Liberia, by creating two characters, an African-American character, Edward Richards, who was born in slavery and who, after 40 years, gained his freedom, decided to go back to Africa in search of his beloved Charlotte, and came to Liberia and met a very remarkable man, Harley. And this man was born to be a king, to be a ruler. But then something happened in the history of Liberia, or that part of the war. His people were threatened with war. The ancestors, the oracle had ordained that a war was to come to Liberia that will wipe out his people. And then, but there was a way out of that war. And that was if someone could come forward and voluntarily offer himself to the gods to avert that war, to stop that war. And so Haile, who was destined to be the king, decided to come forward to die so that his people could live. So Edward Richards, who left the United States, met this remarkable man, and they became friends. So this is the story, and this is the novel that I wrote. This is a novel of friendship between two people. It is a novel of possibilities, because I believe, despite the fact that there was this terrible war in which many people, there were many victims from all walk of life in Liberia, that there is this future of Liberia, that there's this possibility the Liberians could have together, that is this unique relationship between the United States and Liberia. And this is what I try to celebrate in my novel. What I will do now is I will read to you Edward Richards leaving the United States and going to Liberia, and then read a small part describing the life of his friend, Haile, who was born and bred in northern Liberia. One morning, on a wet autumn day, I caught sight of the ship in the distance and hurried towards it. The salty sea air bore excited voices towards me, and it was not long before I became part of the bustle. Shouldering my luggage consisting of clothes, some valuable books and expedition materials, I climbed on board. The ship was crowded with men and women. There were no children. Among the passengers were carpenters, stonemasons, tailors, and a preacher. But the last was not the only one there who had embraced the word of the Lord. Seated or standing in groups, the men reveled in dreams of a better life in a republic with abundant land and the opportunity to establish a trade. Nowhere in the wide world was the freedom desired by Black people of America fulfilled more than in the coastal republic of Liberia. As I edged my way to the berth that would be my abode for the coming weeks, I heard these dreams being exchanged with conviction and hope. Although I did not participate in these conversations, my dreams differed from all the others. I cherished freedom and had longed for it all my life, but that was not why I was heading for Africa, for the land of my fathers. What made me trade America with all its promises for a distant shore was perhaps greater than freedom. The ship set sail out of the crowded dock with the Atlantic winds guiding it. Well-wishers in their dozens waved from the pier, but I chose not to wave back. I was resolved to put America and everything about it behind me and to forge a new beginning for myself. Yet, how could I escape from it all? The fields, the great house, Sarah, and the huge country where I had spent so much of my life. That's Edward Richards leaving Liberia and heading for, leaving the United States and heading for Liberia. And I'm going to read now just a paragraph or two from the land of my father. This is a novel, by the way. This is my novel. This is my first novel. I wrote it when I was 25 years old, and it's been published in many languages, including English. So this is Halle's story. So Halle is actually telling his story to Edward Richards. They have become friends. Edward have traveled to the north of present-day Liberia. And Halle says here, I've decided to tell you my story in order to explain the choice I'm about to make, one which will affect the course of our friendship forever. I see no other way. There are no other ways. That he happened to be among us here in the forest, far away from America, where you were born and bred, is perhaps as remarkable as the circumstances that led to the man I've become and to the decision I must make. So bear with me. I was born in this town, a momentous event for my parents, perhaps for the land, because the months preceding my birth were characterized by frequent incidents of many parts of the forest bursting into flames. Our ancestors have left no traces in their songs and stories of such events ever occurring. Rice fields and vegetable gardens, ripe with the promise of good harvest, will catch fire and burn to the last seed. Every once in a while, as the day edged on towards dusk, a storm of dust will sweep across our towns and villages as though it was at war with the people. There were so many presentments of a terrible misfortune about to befall that my people slaughtered animals in elaborate sacrificial rituals meant to soothe the earth and appease the gods. And they poured libations and consulted the oracle over and over again, all to no avail. Sometimes something had gone terribly wrong. The earth was about to erupt into violence of a kind never witnessed before. My mother was on her way from the farm and was resting on a rock on the summit of a mountain below which the land spread out like a river when the first pangs hit her. She had decided to pause and make up her mind regarding her condition, but the pangs, having taken firm root in her, compelled her to hurry down the mountain. And as she did so, she felt as if the tall trees along the path would collapse on her and the road would roll up and bury her. In front of her, to the left of the path, there was a colossal tree whose branches she thought might offer her sanctuary, but she realized on approaching it that she didn't have the courage or the know-how to deliver me alone. As the shadows lapped up the sunlight and the trees blended with the shadows, heralding the night, my mother panicked. The road suddenly seemed longer, the hills and mountains yet to climb, innumerable, but the fear of losing me compelled her to move on. Thank you so much. That was excerpt from my novel, Land of My Fathers, one of 5 novels that I've written. And I hope that with the Kwanzaa celebration, some of you might be interested in reading this novel. It is my gift to the world. It is because I believe in unity, and I believe in the shared values and the cultures that we inherited from our ancestors. And so I wrote this book to celebrate that. And in the spirit of our ancestors, may they be with us, and may they bless this evening and this day, and may they continue to bless us forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Vamba. That was fantastic. So many of us did not know that part of Liberian history. It is so unfortunate because even on the continent of Africa, the history is being whitewashed. So thank you for guarding that for the future generations. And if I read some of the charts, King Tisley writes, yes, thank you for the Liberian history nearly forgotten by many. And Noni writes, blessings to you, Vamba Sheriff. You are leaving the world more beautiful than the way you found it. Thank you. And Jerry writes, thank you very much, Vamba. You speak the language of our ancestors. Ishmael says, beautiful. We appreciate. Now, we shall move straight on to our second presenter. And her name is Rose Wamboi Kamande. She is an educator and has lived in Germany for the last 10 years. She was born and raised in Kenya, which gave her the privilege to speak Kikuyu, Swahili, English, and German, and a bit of German Sign Language. She is also a musician. She has taught children and grown-ups alike how to create color from natural materials such as eggs, earth, and spinach. She has worked with kids and young adults with varying backgrounds and abilities. Her main research has been internalized racism and how it affects the self-concept, performance, self-esteem of children and young adults, and what solutions already exist. Welcome, Rose.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Odelia, for inviting me. Indeed, it's a great honor to be asked to come here and to speak to you, to speak to great people like you. Have been following the whole of this week, and I'm already amazed at what I've had. Vamba, thank you so much for giving us a piece of your own art. Today we are speaking about Kuumba, and for us to get into this Kuumba, as I said, I'm an educator. I love education, and I love being educated and educating as well. And for today, this makes you, for this moment, my students, and I like learning from my students at least as much as they learn from me. And it's a great honor and a privilege for me to have you as my students, because I've listened to most of you speaking and I love what you say. And because I want to learn from you, just before we get into our Kuumba today, I would like you to do something. And I don't know, do you all have your phones with you? I would like you to go to www.menti.com. I'm going to put that in the chat. And what I want you to do is to just go, and I'm sending you a link right now, because as an educator, I also like it when people are interactive and also letting me know what they think about stuff. So this is called Mentimeter. Some of you might know it, some of you don't, but it's very easy to use. You just either follow that link or you go to www.menti.com. And once you go there, you will find Umfrage. Now I'm thinking in German, a questionnaire, and I want you to answer, to just write, what do you associate with Kuumba? Now, as we've been following and listening this week, I don't want you to write what the meaning is, although you can write what the meaning is, but what I want more to know from you is, what does it make you feel, or what do you associate with this word, Kuumba? The password, I'm writing that down for you right now, is 11 31 23 3. So the password is in the chat box. Has anyone managed to go to the menti.com? Just let me know. Perfect. Is there someone who's struggling and doesn't know how it works?
Wait. No, I saw enter another word, many.
Yes, you have 6 possibilities.
Yes.
So you can write 6 times what you associate with it. You can either write once or you go for all the words. And of course, you can write in all the languages you wish. You can write in the languages that make you happy or the languages that you associate this with. Whatever make you happy, it's very free. And I am going to give you 1 more minute for that. And as you write, I'm going to sing a song for you because we are talking about art today and I love singing. So you can listen to this song. I know most of you know it, and then you can either sing along or just listen. Ngozi sikeleli Afrika malupatanyiswa pondolayo iswa yemitandazo yetu Ngozi sigelela tina lusafo lwayo morena buruka sechabasa eso ufedise dingtang manchwenyo usiburuke sechabasa eso sechabasa Africa.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it looks as if you guys are done.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
So, wow, this looks amazing. Now I'm going to try and share my screen with you so that you can see what I'm seeing. I hope that is possible. So this is what you have said. You have said Kuumba, you associate that with make, with think, with original, friendship, freedom, nature, God, not alone, Africa, build, complete, new, give life, animals, beauty, color, colors, fantasy, pain, endless, humility, greatness, sound, worldwide family, feel good, paintings, my ancestors, wisdom, black people, myself, Kuumba, art, days, and most of you said love, and a couple of you said create. Thank you so very much. This is what we just did. We just created, and that is Kuumba. Kuumba means to create, and together we came together and created something bigger out of this word. And when I was asked by Odilia to come and say something about Kuumba, of course, the first thing I said was, I can't do it. And then the next thing I thought was, okay, Kuumba, to create, what does that mean? And that took me right to my people. I am a Kikuyu person. I'm half Kikuyu and half Maasai. And I also want to show you about this Kuumba, the word Kuumba in our languages. It seems to be the root of very many words. So when you can see Umba, and I gave a small explanation here of a morpheme. A morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit in a language. right? So when you say boys, for example, the word boy is a morpheme, and the singular S is also a morpheme because it carries the meaning of plural. And so with this Kuumba, we have this morpheme umba, which is appearing in almost in very many words. If you look at the word nyumba, for example, which is a house, you see the core of this word is inside. If you look at the word kuamba, which also means to speak, the core of this word is in it. If you look at the word kuamba, which means to pray, you find the core of this word in it too. And you find also in kuimba, which means to sing. You also find this in the core of this word. And so umba, it's not only in Kiswahili, it's also in Kikuyu. And even when I'm supposed to cook ugali, my grandmother would tell me, go and create the ugali, like oba. And so we say oba or umba for Kiswahili. So we are using this word for very many different words in my mother tongue, Kikuyu, and also in Kiswahili. And when I was thinking about it, I immediately also thought about Mombi. Mombi is, let me just stop sharing the screen so that I can come to you guys. Mombi is the great mother of the Kikuyu people.
Yes.
And it is said that Mombi and Kikuyu were married and they had 9 daughters. So Mombi, the creator, is our supreme being, basically. So she carries the name Mombi, that's her name, but we also say the name Mombi for the creator. And so when we talk about creating, it just runs through, it's our core, it's what we are, because we come from the creator and we are supposed to create. Anything else we do, if we don't create, then we are going against ourselves, because that's who we are. Creating is who we are. And now the problem comes now, especially for us, because for us to create, it is very important to be who we are. It's important that we are authentic. It's important that we like our art. Like I had another woman saying, we have to like our art and our art has to like us back, you know, because we are creating something, we are bringing forth. To create is to bring forth. And we have to like that, what we bring forth. And we cannot bring forth something we like if we don't like who we are, you know. So if we are not in core with who we are, then we cannot bring forth what we like. And as I was listening, especially the day before yesterday, I had someone speaking, and it was about the financial aspect, and I had someone mentioning that we Black people, especially, we consume a lot. You know, we have a huge consumer market. You know, we consume a lot, but we are not found in the creating or in the manufacturing. And why is this? You know, I always ask myself, why is this? Because we are creative. So why is it that we end up being more of consumers than creators? And so as an educator, I always go back to education, and my education starts with children. And I always like to see, how do children learn and what is affecting them, and what can be made, how can we make it better for them to understand? And I have come to realize grown-ups are not that different from children. It's just a little bit more complex, but grown-ups and children really, they need the very same things, right? They need the same structures. They need to trust in themselves. They need to feel good about themselves so that they can come forth with something. And for me, especially as a musician, whenever I want to create a new song, I can just be walking around and a song just comes in my mind, right? And I'm just going to be singing it. And the best thing I can do is to record it very fast, because otherwise I will forget. And it can be a good song up until I start thinking, who will be the people who are listening to this song? As soon as I start putting that in mind, who am I singing for? Who is going to be on the receiving end? As soon as it's no longer about the song, but the receiving end, then the song is no longer what it was before, because now I start trying to please people that I don't know. I try to fit into heads of people that I have no idea what people like, right? But I try, and with that, I ruin my song. And every time I've tried to do that, every time I've tried to think, what will other people think about this song? I have ruined my song in the process. And I think many people who create things will say the same thing. And when, for us Black people now, when we go through racism, And when we go through these traumatizing experiences that we have gone through, like slavery and colonialism, these are uprooting. These are things that have uprooted us. They have uprooted us in such a way that if there are people in this world who have denied themselves, denied their skin color, denied their hair, denied who they are, denied their languages, then that has got to be us, you know. And we have done this because of what we have had to go through. And this is why it's so important for us to come back to creativity, because when we come back to the to creativity, we come back to the core. And it's through this core that we can heal, because we can heal through art, and art in itself will heal us again. The more we create without judging, without thinking, who is at the receiving end of this art, without thinking, is it good enough? And also without simple definitions, because that is also something that that makes creating so difficult. When we start defining how is something supposed to be, like when I'm working with children and I want them to draw a butterfly, for example, the biggest mistake I make is to start. When I start and they see my butterfly, then all of them are going to start to draw this butterfly the same way. But if I just let them draw, or we just start in the process, then everybody creates their own butterfly the way they will have it be, the way they think it is supposed to be. And I think this is so important for us to stop thinking, this is how art is supposed to be, so I'm going to create it this way. This is how a good book is supposed to be. This is how a good song is supposed to be, because that takes us away from creating. And also for our children, I think also I've had this also from so many of my friends who tell me, my dad will tell me I should not dance, or my mom will tell me I shouldn't do this, or I was told to follow a serious career. Yes, these are things that many of us, especially in our generation, were told. But right now, it's now in our turn now to change this narrative of telling children they should not do this, they should not sing too loudly, or they should follow a more serious career, or they should consider their future. I think right now we are in a healing process, and in such a way that we can now start encouraging also our children to go and create whatever they think they want to create, without defining it, without saying this is the kind of art that will sell and this is the kind of art that will not sell. We have to let ourselves and our children create for the sake of creation, for the sake of the creativity, because we have to come back to the core. And if we don't create, our very being is creativity, because we come from the creator. We come from the creator, and our very core is to create. And if we don't create, we get away from ourselves. And so it's in our responsibility to peel away all these layers that we have gathered, you know, like in an onion. We peel away each and every layer until we come back to this core that allows us to create for the sake of creation, not for the sake of money, not for the sake of whatever else, but for the sake of creation. Not so that it's good, but so that it's just created, because this is what we are supposed to be doing, basically. So thank you so much for having me over and for creating with me. And if you like, I will send you the Mentimeter that we created together, or I send it to Odelia so that she can let you see what you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
There's one question here for Vamba and Rose. How do you get in the creative zone? Do you have moments during the day you dedicate on creating art, creating or singing? Very quick before we go to our next speaker.
Yes. I write in the mornings. I wake up very early at 5, 6 in the morning to write. Yes, every day.
Wow.
Yes.
Every day.
Every day. 7 days a week. Yes.
And Rose?
The best time to write is in the mornings.
Wow.
And when the novel is going well, the writing is going well, I write in the evenings too.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. For me, it's more of a face thing. I have phases where I just get out and I have songs in my mind, but I have to be in the connection. I meditate a lot, so I find myself sometimes in that connection of just having these songs in my mind. But music is different because I can't produce everything that comes in my mind, and I
Yeah.
forget very fast. So sometimes I have very many songs, but I didn't record them, so they go away. But sometimes I also do create the space to create. But it's not like Vamba, this discipline, I don't have that.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, because of time, I would like to introduce our third speaker. Now we have had a speaker from Netherlands, speaker from Germany, and now we are going to France. And his name is Dr. Marceline Dabo. He's the founder of Marceline Dabo, an enterprise working on engineering, that is motor test bench, I don't know what that is, and technical studies. He's also an author and an auto editor of books as Adinkra or the Sapientograms, based on the West African philosophical writing system. Brother Marceline, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, everybody. I am very happy to be here between you all. I am very happy. I am happy, sorry, because I speak English and French. I am not living in an English country, so maybe you will notice some not very perfect English, but I prefer to let you know before I go ahead. Thank you very much for the Queen introduction. It was very beautiful, very amazing, very clear. Following the presentation of Vamba. Vamba, thank you very much for what you have said, what you have shared with us. It was very nice. Rose, beautiful voice, very sweet, very slow spirit. Nice,
Thank
I
you.
enjoy. Today I am going to talk to you very quickly about creativity. Many people say things, and where I agree with Rose is that you need to be free to create. If you are free, you can create things that you want, but under the way of the spirit, under the way of good spirit. Because you can create also under the way of bad spirit. You can create techniques to go and rob somewhere or killing people or doing something. That are techniques that you're gonna use to go and achieve your mission. And that mission will come with an idea, and that idea is implemented by the connection that you have with a very specific or number of specific spirits. This is why it's important for us to be inside us and to, you know, to wipe inside. Because as Bantu people say, Ntu is a human being and Tu is a receptacle of divine energy. So if you are the receptacle of divine energy, you will receive that energy that is coming from God. And from that energy, you can create. And that creation can be beautiful, can be good. So I prefer most of the time to present. But before I go further, I want to say happy birthday to my sister Angela Tate. Okay? Happy birthday to you. I know you are far away, and yes, I will not sing for happy birthday, but later I will sing some. Coming back for the practices, these last years I was studying African culture because going from West Africa, Senegal to France, and I was asking myself how I can share my culture with different people throughout the world. And I started studying Meduneter, that is hieroglyphic from Egypt. And then after I discover another African writing system, and finally I get to Adinkra, that is a message delivered to somebody who is living. This is the meaning of Adinkra from West African people, Ghana and Ivory Coast. And it is Akan people, and they speak the language of Twi. And they have different symbols that they put on the clothes And then sometimes haki ami, sometimes you have one clothes that you wear. On the clothes, there is an adinkra symbol. I hope you know that is Genyamye. Genyamye means except for God. Everything you do, God is on top of that. The symbol that you have on what you wear these last days, it was Genyamye. And I saw some photos from Tanzania, so you wear that thing also. So when I studied Adinkra, I saw that the symbols are very simple, very concise, but with a deep meaning of wisdom. And I have did some bookmarks, but before I go for the product, just want to tell you that symbols they put on clothes, and if you have seen the film Black Panther, you have seen many symbols inside Black Panther. For example, when Chala, the future king, went to see his father on the realm of death, okay? And the father wore a cloth, okay, like this in traditional Africa. And all that symbols that you have upon are adinkra. So the meanings are meaning of courage, meaning of quality, meaning of Genyamye relatively to God, etc. And also the sister of the king who is in the laboratory, she wore a symbol that is called Wawa Aba. Wawa Aba is a seed of a tree that is very, very, very strong. That symbol means perseverance, because if you are not perseverant, you cannot reach your goal. You can have great idea. You can have great talent, but if you, for the first step of realizing things, if you fear, you will not go away. There is also another symbol that I want to share with you is Hiewonye. That means somebody who can withstand the storms. Okay, you can go through storms, but you will never be destroyed by the storm. That is Hiewonye in Akam people. And let me just show you. I was talking to you about Ismail. Thank you very much, Ismail. These are Adinkra symbols. Thank you very, very, very much for showing this.
Marceline,
Yes.
Because of time, we are going to hold another class so that you can explain to us those symbols. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. So how long do I have now? What is the remaining time for me? For talk.
We just finish, just wrap up, and then we'll organize another one for your, yeah.
All right, it's okay. So I want to show you this one. This is a symbol of strength and humility. These are, okay. This is a symbol of adaptability. Okay, so meaning the crocodile lives in water but breathes air outside air. Okay, that is symbol of adaptability. These are paper with some stickers where you can use these stickers to put on this paper, and there is a dictionary that is going with it. So Rose, I know you will call me.
Yes.
This is a coloring book on Adinkra symbols where you can use this. This is symbol of independence. And if you start learning children independence, you tell them independence comes with responsibility. Because you cannot say that you are an independent country and you cannot build one road. Even if you have technical, polytechnical schools inside your country, you don't know how to do. This is a book written deeply in from research, coming from research, with Kwame and Nafi. And then what you have here is the same principle. You have different symbols. Okay, here. Betesaka is a symbol of richness. Okay. All right then. So from here, this is the last one, and thank you. This is written in 4 languages. It is written in Twi, Wolof, French, and English. And you have different symbols where you can learn children. This is, what does it mean, this one? Children, you should not do to the others what you don't want them to do to you. Okay? And then you have other things inside this. So practical of creation. And as an entrepreneur, I go in the market and I build these balloons. Okay, these are balloons that you can use to decorate rooms, etc. Okay, so I stop here for the case of Adinkra. So I want to thank again Kim Paul for these balloons that he showed there in Tanzania. So now I am going to engineering very quickly. Yes, my studies are done like I am a PhD on control systems, and I work on engineering in companies of. I have been in automobile industry for more than 10 years. So let me just show you. I want to show you an application of what we can do through also engineering. Okay, so. I am going to reverse the camera. Yes, here you have it now. So this is just, let me just reduce the face so that you can see better. I think that this is clear for you. I'm going to reduce again a bit. So this is what we call a test bench. Odilia, this is a test bench.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the test bench is composed of an element that is the source of energy. This is an adapter. Here, what I will be doing with this test bench, I will be controlling the velocity of this motor. This is what we call a direct current motor. This direct current motor is composed of the electrical part of the motor here. This is a transformation of movement that is going to reduce the velocity of this motor from here to this shaft. Okay. And then there is a sensor of position. So I am working on this project with Mr. Tanya, who is online here. We are working hard on this project in order to control this electrical motor. This part is a control unit. This is electronic control unit to control the motor. It will receive information from the computer, and you can see from the computer, you have the program here. Through the USB key, you will have all downloaded information. Right. So now let's go for a short demonstration, and then after I will stop. So what the system will be doing, it will rotate. I will give information, I say, through this element. This is an encoder. It's a button that you have in some radios or in some kind of devices. You can press or you can rotate. You can rotate, and also you can press. How it works? I will press here, and then here on the screen, you will see how the velocity is moving while the motor is moving. I will do a movement of acceleration in a direction and also on the reverse. So let's go. I press here, and you see here, and you see the acquisition of the velocity also here on the screen. So let's go. You will see, if you look at here, you will see the acceleration. I'm going to press a second time, and then you will see also a movement here on the red line. So be careful. Let's go. Okay, I don't have enough energy. The motor is rotating. I just have the energy of the USB key. So now I am going to reset my system, plug in the energy from the house electricity. Okay. And then from here, let me just press and you will see how it goes. You see, it is rotating. I press again, you're going to observe an acceleration of the motor. Always in the same direction. I put again more acceleration, and now I am going to decrease now. I decrease acceleration, I decrease, and finally I can stop now my motor. So now I am going to turn in the reverse direction. I go to the reverse direction. You can see the velocity is going to the negative part here on the screen. And then control is going because I asked to the motor to rotate, and I know the velocity that is rotating right now. I measure with this part of the motor. That is what we call an encoder. So when I press again, acceleration on the reverse direction, again acceleration on the reverse direction, I will reduce the velocity. Okay. When I reduce it, so I'm going to stop now. The velocity is very low, and finally I stop. So if I stop, if you listen very well, you can hear something whistling. That is a control of what we call the MOSFET. That is the transistors. This is how they work. So I want to stop here about creativity. Books is culture for me, African culture for me. And engineering is how to go further in order to create test bench and go in the field, and go do real application and sell our test benches on the market. This is what we want to do through the schools, etc. And if you have any questions, so Ismail, we talked about this. I hope you enjoyed.
Yes, we did.
I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marceline. Are you playing for us something small?
Yes, I am going to play. My Cora is here.
Please.
So let me just make again everything correct before I start playing. Put my camera correctly. Just 2 minutes.
People that are going to contact you, we have written your Facebook page, your email address, your telephone number. They are really interested in your books.
Yes, if they want,
I will give your contacts. I will give you their contacts also.
Yeah, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a moment, I'm coming.
Then after Brother Marceline playing for us, our Queen Mother will close with a poem. But while Brother Marceline is doing something, I'd like to share something that my grandmother shared with me before, while he's preparing. And I remember one time I went to my grandmother. I don't remember what the problem was, but she took water in a cup and she asked me, "What is this?" I said, "This is water." Can you all see that this is water? And then he took the same water. This is a calabash from Africa. And he poured the same water here. And he asked me, "What is in here?" It's the same water. The only thing that has changed is the container, the shape of the container. And she told me, wherever you go, remain to be like that water. It adapts to its container, but it remains authentic. So I'd like to leave you with this. In the next year, adapt to your environment, but remain who you are.
Ashe, Odilia.
Ashe.
Very, very good.
I
Thank
never
you.
Thank
forgot that
you.
lesson. And brother,
Thank you.
yeah, you know about the adaptability sign. So I remembered what my grandmother told me. Are
I
you ready?
agree with you.
Yes.
I agree. This is kora. Kora is a West African instrument that is from 13th century in West Africa. And it has 21 strings. It is played by griot in West Africa. The families of Jabate, of Sissoko, of Jobarte, etc. And you have different kind of griots. You have griots who are working with the kings, griots who are working for just the history of the community. I am Dabo. I am not a griot. I love to play kora because kora is a very nice instrument. So you have until this one, okay? You can see. Okay. So as I told you, I studied hieroglyphics. So this is my name that I have written here with pyrography. So Mrs. Kim Paul, we talked about pyrography. This is a kind of pyrography I have to. So pyrography is when you make iron on fire, you heat it and then you design with the iron. That is pyrography. Okay. So let's go. Oyalwe yirmikin, 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 oyalwe yirmikin. Tedela telofane mare jam jai mayowe. Ta telofane mare jam jai mayowe. Krista, Krista, yerme im Krista. Krista, yerme im Krista, Krista, yerme im Krista. Krista, yerme im. Oyalowe, yerme im. Oyalowe, yerme im. Oyalowe, yerme im. Oyalowe, yerme. Oyalowe, yerme im. Oyalowe, yerme. Oyalowe, yerme. Oyalowe. Oyalowe, yerme. Oyalowe, yerme.
Thank you. Thank you.
The
I'd like-
last one.
Oh, Queen Mother.
I would like to invite Queen Mother to say a closing word.
I'm the Queen Mother also of Tuba, Sheikh Salou, and Amadou Bamba is my grandfather. So in the spirit of my grandfather, I speak to you. This is a reflection, and in the spirit of two people that has been mentioned today. One is a person by the name of a great author, a great writer. And the last time I saw him was at Brown's University. and his name is Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe. And when you spoke of Liberia, then we have to always remember Mama Angie Brooks. Mama Angie Brooks, the first woman president at the United Nations of the General Assembly from Liberia. Now I will speak the reflection for you. Cry for my mother. Mama, 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 my dear mother, where are you? Can you hear me? I can't breathe. You are the closest thing to me. I cry and pray for you to hear me. Breathing in and out my last breath that is being choked, snatched, robbed, and stolen from me. Mama, my dear, ma, do you hear me? Hide me in your womb, which is eternal. Your womb that shelter me with love and protection. A womb that allowed me to survive and live. A womb that kept, nourished, and cared for me throughout the natural born days of my life. Mama, ma, my dear, mama, you know me. Where are you? I need you. For God's sake, I hang in the balance of life and death. Mama, save me. I love and honor you. I can't breathe. Heal and protect me as I live in your belly. Your divine and sacred womb, your womb allowing me to flourish and grow. And a hiding place that is my destiny for all eternity. Oh, mama, I can't breathe. I call on you to surrender me in justice and peace. Oh, gentle Savior, save me. Oh, God. Dedicated to George Floyd.
Thank you, Queen Mother. Thank you. We have come to the end of our program. And thank you so much for today. Let's meet tomorrow. Kwaheri.
Kwaheri.
Kwaheri, everyone.
Kwaheri, kwaheri.
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 Kwaheri.